Hi there, it's Julie from julieobsesses.com. Today I am making this video to show you how to make spicy fermented carrots. It's one of my favorite fermented food recipes that I make here. Fermented foods, one of the things that I obsess about. So how and why should you ferment your food? Mainly vegetables. You can do some fruit as well. Fermented foods add probiotics to your GI tract. They add the good bacteria. It promotes gut health. It promotes your mental health. It boosts your immune system. There's all sorts of reasons why you should add some fermented foods to your diet. So there's a couple of ways. Let's focus on the ingredients for the spicy fermented carrots. There is a couple of different ways that you can ferment your food. You can use a whey brine. You can use starter culture to make your brine. I prefer to use the saltwater method to make my brine. So that's what I have here, my salt water. The general rule of thumb is that you cannot use tap water. You should use filtered water. Tap water has chlorine in it, and that could stop the fermentation process. So we don't want to do anything that is going to stop the growth of the good bacteria on our foods, which is what ferments it. The salt that you use is an important factor as well. You can't use just table salt that has iodine in it, and like chlorine, the iodine is going to stop your fermentation process. So the different salts that you can use, today I'm using Mediterranean sea salt. You can use that Himalayan pink salt. You can use pickling salt. You can use kosher salt. You just can't use iodized table salt. So back to our ingredients. Obviously, we've got the carrots. I have about a pound of carrots here chopped up into carrot sticks. You can chop them into slices. You can however you want to chop up your carrots. I've heard of people shredding it too. Makes more like a type of sauerkraut type of shredded carrots. But today I chose to make carrot sticks. I have peeled and chopped up about a pound of carrots. These are not from my garden because it's not garden season yet, unfortunately. It's 32 degrees and the wind is blowing and it is raining, freezing rain out there. So these are not garden fresh carrots. These are from the grocery store. So just peeled and chopped into sticks, pound of carrots. What am I going to use for my flavoring in my fermented carrot sticks? Garlic. I have about 3 to 4 small heads of garlic. I wish I would have had a little bit more. Garlic, when you ferment it, gets really potent, just so that you know. I'm a huge fan of garlic. If you're not as big of a garlic fan, you may want to cut back on this. I usually do about 2 cloves per jar. You may want to cut back or have some gum ready. You know what I'm saying? After you eat these, because you're going to have garlic breath. So, garlic. I also have black peppercorns. This, obviously you don't eat these. This is just to add flavor to your brine. Next I have red chili flake. I have about a tablespoon of everything, like my peppercorns and my red chili flake. This is gonna make two pint jars. Sorry, pint jar, not a quart jar. And then I also have 2 bay leaves. Well, there they go. They fell into the garlic. Anyway, here are my bay leaves. 1 bay leaf per jar. You don't have to add dill to this recipe. You don't have to add anything to this recipe. If you just want to ferment it, it's good too. If you want to add different herbs of your choice, feel free to do that as well. This recipe is kind of just a guideline, and you can take the flavors where you want to take it. Anywho, so I have some fresh dill. They had it on sale at the grocery store today, so I picked some of that up. I don't always add the dill. Let's talk about dill. Do you folks plant dill in your garden? Because you really only need to do it once. Dill reseeds itself and it ends up growing every place. I have it all over garden beds that I've never planted in before. It's growing around the pool, in the decorative rocks around the pool. It's everywhere in the yard. And when I see it growing, I just let it go. I don't pull it out. I just have dill every place. Smells good. It attracts pollinators. And it's great food for caterpillars, and the butterflies hatch out on it too. So it's really kind of a great thing to have in your garden. Anyway, back to the fermented carrot sticks. So what I'm going to do to start my carrot sticks, I'm going to take some of my black peppercorns. Oh, there's a little escaper. Some of my red chili flake. Some of my garlic. And then I'm going to put one of my bay leaves in the bottom in my jar. So you can kind of see just the bottom of my jar is covered in the seasonings. It's not exact measurements, folks. It just is whatever you decide is good for you. Then I will take my dill and kind of shove that in there as well. I like to lay my carrot sticks so that they look all pretty in there. These going. Well, carrots everywhere. Surprised the dog didn't come running. She loves carrots. Okay, see, it's all packed in the jar there. Everything's nice and even. I make sure to cut my carrot sticks to about the size of my jar. I have the jar there for measurement, and then I just kind of lay everything out on the cutting board and try and keep everything uniform. I try to keep the carrot sticks about the same thickness so everything ferments at the same rate. So at this point, we just want to cover the carrot sticks with the brine. Spilling the brine. Oh well. So there we go. And your seasonings start to float around in there. The peppercorns are starting to rise up. What we don't want to have happen is have the carrots rise above your brine. Part of the fermentation process is the bacteria growing in an anaerobic environment. So we want everything underneath the water. So how do you do that? In the past, I have taken, like when I do sauerkraut, I'll take a big cabbage leaf and I'll lay it on top and kind of put a weight on top of that, like a sterilized stone or something. I have a fermentation crock that has a ceramic weight that pushes down on top of everything. But when I'm doing small batch fermentation like this, I have used, like when my kids had marbles, I would put marbles in a plastic bag and I could put that on top. But I have recently purchased some devices that I really like. This is not a sponsored video, FYI. Nobody's paying me to give you this information. This is just a product that I use and love. I am using these Pickle Pebbles from Mason Tops. Excellent. Has a little handle on the top here. This glass weight goes right in the dishwasher. It goes right in the sink that you're washing your dishes in. Super easy to clean. So my carrots are starting to rise up in the water here. I'm just gonna put my Pickle Pebble on top of that. And that keeps everything down underneath the water, or underneath the brine. If you have things rising up above the brine, they're gonna get moldy, they're gonna get gross. That is not what you want. If you have something moldy that you're fermenting, best to throw it away and start over. But at least you tried. But keep that Pickle Pebble on top of there. So what happens when the bacteria starts to grow in here? It starts to break down the vegetable, make vitamins and minerals that wouldn't normally be bioavailable in the vegetable, more bioavailable. Like it creates B12, which is, I think it's B12. It's a B vitamin that a lot of vegetarians don't get because they don't eat meat. It's normally just you get it from meat. So another reason to ferment your vegetables, especially if you're a vegetarian, it's going to make vitamins and minerals that you can't normally get with just the vegetables more available. I don't have the exact facts on that. That's just something that I read and remembered. So, if you want to find out exactly which B vitamin it is, look that up. Don't just take my word for it. I'm in the blog post that I'm going to post about the fermented carrots. I did add a link to the Cleveland Clinic. The Cleveland Clinic has smart people. They're a lot smarter than I am. So read what they said, and then make my fermented vegetable recipes. Okay, back to what happens when the food ferments. It creates gases. Your brine will get cloudy and almost ferment. You'll be able to see little bubbles rising up. So if I have a lid on this jar and it is closed, say I had the canning lid on top of this as well, and I closed this up, what's going to happen? It's going to want to explode. You can do it that way. You can come by once a day and you can burp your jar and let the gases out. But again, I purchased another device from Mason Tops. This is called the Pickle Pipe, and it is just this silicone lid that has, my kids tease me, they said I bought nipples on Amazon, and I did. It has this kind of nipple on the top that when you squeeze it, it does open up. So that goes on top of your mason jar. You screw your lid on, and that way you don't have to worry about burping your jars every couple of days. If you leave it on the counter and forget, it's going to burp itself through that little device. So I've used these a couple of times now. Like I said, I always have something fermenting on the counter because I eat fermented foods on a daily basis. The jar pickles will, fermented carrots will last me maybe a week at work. I'll take a jar to work and I'll just snack on them throughout the day. Have a jar in the fridge at home. I snack on them in the evenings. So you should definitely give the fermented spicy carrots a try. This will sit on my kitchen counter. Fermentation is an acquired taste, and you can decide how much you want your food fermented. 3 or 4 days is all my last batch took. It was warmer then. We're having a little blustery March refresher of winter here this week, so it's only about 32 degrees outside. My kitchen is a little bit colder than it was last week when it was 50, so these might take 4 to 5 days, whereas the last batch only took 2 to 3 days. But like I said, decide how much you like it fermented. If you taste them once a day after about 2 to 3 days and you think, okay, that's good, that is just fermented to where I like it, then great. Pop a regular lid on them and pop them in your refrigerator. That's going to slow down, not entirely stop, but it will slow down the fermentation process. If you like your fermented food to taste a little bit stronger, go ahead and leave it out for another 2 or 3 days. Like I said, just taste it every day. When you decide it's at a level that you like, pop it in the fridge. Have it for a snack. So that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed my video. I hope you learned something. The written recipe, and like I said, you don't have to follow it exactly. Use herbs that you like. If you don't like garlic and peppercorn and red pepper flake, go ahead and use regular pickle seasoning. I'm not a huge fan of the pickle seasoning mix, but if that's your thing, do it. That is a good option as well. So the written recipe is going to be it's on my blog. I will include a link to it in the show notes, so you can refer back to that, or leave me a comment, ask me a question, comment on the blog. I'm happy to help. Thanks for stopping in. Bye.